The Memphis Grizzlies just beat a healthy Golden State Warriors team. Now, some people might be surprised by this, but honestly, I'm not, because Memphis is currently the 2 seed in the Western Conference right now, and I feel like no one's talking about this. Memphis has quietly been one of the better teams in the NBA, and again, it frustrates me that no one is talking about it. I even called it 2 months ago on my second channel. I said if this team was healthy, they were going to be scary, but nevertheless, I'm not surprised that Memphis is doing well this year. Now, there are a lot of reasons for this, and I think the first one is obviously they're very healthy, but that's a given because there are so many teams in the NBA that if they're healthy, they're great. But of course, one of the things about the NBA is sometimes you can't stay healthy. And the thing is, Memphis hasn't been 100% healthy. Like, Ja Morant's been dealing with some back injury for the longest of time. Even in this game, I believe he went back to the locker room. I think he only played like 17 minutes. But the thing is, this Memphis team isn't just reliant on Ja Morant. And of course, we're going to talk about him in this video. It's goddamn Ja Morant. But it's other guys on the team, guys like Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, even the guys on the rotation. I first want to start with the guy who's actually leading the team in scoring, and surprisingly, it's not Ja Morant. And unfortunately, it's not our GOAT, Yuki Kawamura. No, it is none other than Jaren Jackson Jr., a guy that a lot of people said wasn't the best on the offensive side. During his career, he's definitely been known as more of a defender than a scorer. I mean, this is a guy that did win the Defensive Player of the Year award. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's still doing good on the defensive side. He's currently top 10 in blocks right now, averaging about 1.7 blocks, and he's also averaging about 1.5 steals, but his offense is definitely noteworthy. This is a guy averaging about 22 points per game, shooting about 52% from the field and almost 37% from 3. And let's be clear, this is not a fraudulent 3-point percentage. In the words of Chris Collingsworth, here's a guy that is on pace to shoot the most threes he's ever shot in a season. At the time of recording this video, he's on pace to shoot about 500 threes in a season, which he has never done up to this point. So it's safe to say he's becoming a little bit more of a volume shooter, and he's doing it well. They might be saying, Spex, how did Jaren Jackson Jr. go from an average offensive player to their #1 option and doing it well? Well, I think last year had something to do with it. As you guys know, last year was filled with injuries for the Grizzlies, and unfortunately for them, their #1 option had to be Jaren Jackson Jr. I mean, it's why he averaged about 22 points per game. And I think it was during last season, the coaching staff was testing Jaren and they saw he could be a great scorer. Last year, he had a usage rate of 29.5. At the time of recording this video, he has a usage rate of 26.8. Yes, it is a little bit lower compared to last year, but again, I'm not surprised by that because we have guys like Ja Morant who aren't 100% healthy, but they're still playing games. They got other guys like Desmond Bane and other guys we're going to talk about in this video, but it's still noteworthy that he's still getting the ball a lot of possessions. And as I watch these games, I see Jaren and he looks so much more comfortable. He looks comfortable being able to take a 3. He looks more comfortable driving to the rim. I believe I saw a video, or maybe it was a stat, but Jaren Jackson Jr. has been one of the best driving big men in the league so far. Actually, now that I think about it, I think it was a video. Shout out to Alex Hoops. I think it's interesting we live in a world where Jaren Jackson Jr. is one of the best two-way players in the game right now, because we obviously know how great of a defender he is. He is one of the best shot blockers in basketball right now. That's a fact. He is one of the best guys when it comes to getting stocks overall. That's just a fact. But the fact that he's become a very reliable #1 option, that's something that has really helped out Memphis. But it's not just because of Jaren Jackson Jr. why they've been so great on defense this year. Another guy we got to talk about, and he is the more underrated guy on this team, a guy I would say no one actually talks about, but Santi Alderman has been the unsung hero of this team, which is surprising because if you ask me, he's making a case for 6th man of the year. I mean, sure, he's averaging about 13 points per game. He's been a great shooter, I believe shooting 39% from 3 and shooting a little bit above 50% from the field, but it's what he's done on defense that has impressed me the most. According to athlonsports.com, Santi Alderman came into this season ranked as the 3rd best help defender in the NBA. Now, one of the things that I wanted to bring up is he's also a great rim protector. Last season, he averaged the most blocks in his career, averaging about 1.5. Unfortunately, that has gone down to 0.5 this year, but I can understand why. I mean, it probably has to do with the fact that they have Zach Edey and also Jaren Jackson Jr., again, one of the best rim protectors in all of basketball. But I do think Santi Alderman plays a very interesting role. He's a guy that you're not going to really talk about, yet he helps out the second rotation in so many different ways. He's a very versatile defender while also being able to shoot and even be a great playmaker. I think I said this earlier, but if the season was to end today, then Santi Alderman is my 6th man of the year. Now, I know according to the box score, he's only averaging about 13.5 points per game, but I think the reason is honestly just consistency, because this is a guy that in a lot of games has scored over 20 points. Of course, I don't think he's ever going to be viewed as a #1 or #2, but he is a guy that if Memphis needs a scoring option, he's right there. This is a guy that you have in the rotation that can come off the bench and excel in the offense, while also being very good on the defensive side as well. Okay, really quick, if you guys enjoying the video, leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're trying to hit 25K by the end of the year, and I believe we're at like 360 away, something like that. So if you guys are enjoying the content I've been dropping recently, then leave a like on this video. And again, subscribe to the channel, man. If you guys enjoy raw, unfiltered NBA content at least 3 times a week, then this is the perfect channel for you. And if you guys end up subscribing and you don't like the content, you can unsubscribe at any time. It is totally free to try it out. But yeah, with that being said, let's get right back into the video. Now, despite this being, in my opinion, one of the worst rookie classes we've seen in quite some time, Memphis got some pretty good players out of it. Zach Edey and Jalen Wells have been very pivotal to this team. I do want to start with Zach Edey because it's like Jaren Jackson Jr. He is a great defender and a great shot blocker, and it's why Memphis has one of the best defenses this year. Currently, at the time of recording this video, they are top 5 in defensive rating. And if history has shown us anything, that usually means they're a top contender, a team we have to seriously look at. He's a guy that can consistently get you about 11 points per game, a ton of rebounds, and a block. But the craziest part is, coming into the season, Zach Edey was the only rookie I was looking at. A guy I was not looking at was Jalen Wells. And some would argue that Jalen Wells has done better than Zach Edey so far. He's someone averaging about 11.5 points per game, having a field goal percentage of about 46%, but he's also shooting 40% from 3, taking about 4.5 attempts per game. And I also want to remind you guys, he's averaging about 25 minutes per game. So this is someone that Memphis is already trusting in the rotation to give him a good amount of minutes. He might have been a second round pick, but he's playing better than a lot of first rounders from this class. You know, this is such a diverse and great team that we're about 6-7 minutes in the video and I still haven't talked about Ja Morant. The thing is though, what is there to say? Ja Morant is a great player. I understand he's been through his injuries this year, which does suck because availability is the best ability, but I do believe that eventually during the season he will come back fully healthy. Now I know there's gonna be someone in the comment section saying, oh, he's only averaging 21 points per game, this is a drop off year. If we're being real, this does not tell the full story. This is someone who's missed 10 games, which is like what, 33% of the games this year so far. So of course he's not gonna average 25-30 points per game. It's just a given. I do think when he does come back, his points per game is gonna bump up back to 25. He's still a great scorer, he's still a great playmaker. If anything, he's been the best version of himself defensively this year than we've ever seen. And again, it's one of the reasons why Memphis is currently top 5 in defense right now in the NBA. Now there's someone that I would love to talk about, and that's GG Jackson. Unfortunately, he has not played this year so far, but trust me when I say when he does come back, he is going to be very important to this team. Also, I almost forgot to talk about my favorite T-Rex in the NBA, but that's Desmond Bane. Now, the reason why I kind of held off on talking about him is because he is struggling this year. But I actually went on the Grizzlies Reddit and I saw this post where someone said that usually he goes through these kind of slumps during the season. Some would argue it's been kind of worse this year, but I think he's going to pick it back up. This man is one of the best shooters in the NBA right now. He is a very important part of this offense, and I think eventually he's going to get back up to speed. I know I talked about them being top 5 in defensive rating, but they're also top 8 in offensive rating. I mean, guys, trust me, their offense is going to be fine. Jaren Jackson Jr. is doing well. Santi's doing well. When Ja Morant is playing, he's doing well. Jalen Wells, Zach Edey, all these different guys, they're able to score the ball. And when Desmond Bane eventually does pick it back up, I expect him to go back to being like a 17 points per game scorer. I'm going to keep saying this for as long as it is true. As long as Memphis is mostly healthy, this is a great basketball team. And genuinely, when the playoffs do come around, I'm interested to see what is going to happen, because this team has so many weapons and so many different directions they can go. Honestly, don't be surprised if they low-key make it to the Western Conference Finals. Yo, my ex looks really good right now. I should text her. Oh shit.